Hi class, my name is Teresa and for our final presentation, I will be doing an intercultural analysis on the film Avatar directed by James Cameron. First off, I will provide a brief plot summary and description of the main characters, but for the purpose of this presentation and examples, there will only be two. Next, I will discuss the cultural context of the film and the scenes selected which will be played subsequently. After the scenes, I will go into the bulk of the presentation with the analysis of several intercultural communication issues and the certain strategies that were used. I will then provide suggestions that eventually play out in the protagonist's character development. Lastly, a conclusion, of course, to wrap up the analysis. 100 years from now, Avatar mainly takes place on the world of Pandora, inhabited by natives known as Na'vi. Because the air on Pandora is poisonous to humans, hybrids of Na'vi bodies with human minds, known as avatars, are created. The Resources Development Administration, known as the RDA, is on Pandora with the mission to extract a large mass of unobtainium surrounding home tree where many Na'vi people live. This causes difficult relations between the two species. There are two main characters that will be discussed during this presentation. First off is our main character, Jake Sully, an ex-Marine paralyzed from the waist down who agrees to take on a mission to control an avatar made for his twin brother who recently passed away. The mission includes gathering intel that would help in extracting the large deposit of unobtainium within the Na'vi region or forcing the Na'vi to emigrate. Second is NEYTIRI, a Na'vi native of the Omaticaya clan who finds Jake in the forest and is about to kill him when she receives a sign and instead brings him to her clan in front of her father, the chief, and her mother, the spiritual leader. To better understand the dynamic upon bringing Jake in front of her clan, her mother puts NEYTIRI in charge of teaching and training Jake about the Na'vi way of life. If he is proven worthy of the clan and people, they will not kill him. Additionally, this relationship aids in his mission to gather intel on the Na'vi people for the RDA. The following clips are scenes throughout the film of Jake learning about Na'vi culture as an ex-Marine from Earth. These first few clips are a common issue of intercultural communication. Simply, language causes issues between cultures. Body language as well shows that Jake steps out of line. Without the proper intercultural communication skills, he invades the chief's personal space and is received with hostility from the warriors. Jake's lack of knowledge of the Na'vi language presents a barrier as he literally has no idea what is going on and is not able to contribute his opinions or thoughts. Luckily, some Na'vi learned English through previous teachers from Earth. Unfortunately, Jake still struggles with the language barrier between English and Na'vi. Learning a language is always difficult. NEYTIRI could have been a bit more patient, but Jake was only doing his best to linguistically assimilate. To improve, Jake would just need to repeat and practice in the foreign language. The next clip will be Jake learning about the Na'vi lifestyle. The Na'vi way of life. The first clip shows Jake as clearly new and foreign to the community when his presence initiates complete and awkward silence. He is unaware of the social cues within the gathering of the cultural space, causing him to stand out. Jake tries to be friendly, but should have stayed quiet to not cause attention to his alienation since he did not understand the dynamic of the cultural space of the Na'vi. When he starts to physically assimilate to the Na'vi way of life, you can tell that he struggles here and there. The Na'vi live a fast-paced and active lifestyle to which Jake must quickly adapt to in order to survive. Coming from Earth as a disabled veteran, he had a lot of work to do. As he said before, it's all repetition where he just needs to practice. The last few clips will touch on the Na'vi people's values. The Na'vi people's values. The first clip explains the meaning behind the phrase "I see you," which shows value for the person said to, representing a collectivistic society. Though an ex-Marine, he is still someone that came from individualism, which explains the difficulty he has with this phrase. Additionally, the element of energy is repeated in the movie, for it explains the value of one's life and all living things coexisting simultaneously. Jake struggles to communicate with NEYTIRI and the Na'vi on a spiritual level because of the difference in values beyond his understanding. This is where it is important for Jake to open his heart to aspects that another culture values, and as someone says, see the forest through her eyes. The Na'vi language, way of life, and values are all part of Jake's training and assimilation into an alien culture. This is inevitably difficult, especially when Jake's mission is to prove himself worthy of the Na'vi clan. It is also interesting noting that as humans, we sympathize more with Jake as the Na'vi are the aliens to us. But in reality, who are the aliens on this world? We all love character development, especially where Jake undergoes a process of identity development in this film, straying further away from his human self toward a true member of the Na'vi people. So, how did we get this Jake, an ex-Marine paralyzed from the waist down, to this Jake, a full-on warrior from a world completely unknown to him prior? He learns the ways of Na'vi life by choosing to adapt instead of denying the opportunity. Through time and repetition, he learns the language and gradually understands and sees the world as the Na'vi do. Life on Earth, especially from a westernized country, does not emphasize the importance of a collectivistic society and the living things surrounding us. Jake opens his eyes and ears and becomes more open-minded to a different life. As a Marine, he uses his lack of fear and his strong heart to adapt and engage with the Na'vi on an intercultural level. There were many issues regarding intercultural communication as Jake struggles to prove his worthiness and gain the trust of the Na'vi people. He was a human, an outsider, foreign to Pandora. However, devoid of ethnocentrism, Jake pushes toward the intercultural assimilation in order to successfully communicate with the Na'vi. For more context, he is also able to look past his life on Earth and with the RDA to sympathize with the Na'vi, proving an intercultural communication success. In conclusion, Jake had to develop in so many ways in order to properly engage in intercultural communication with the Na'vi. If you haven't seen the movie, you should. It's on Disney Plus, and I tried my best to not spoil anything. Thank you so much for listening. Bye, everyone.